Alrighty, welcome to today's episode. What we're going to do is teach you how to do an oil change. We're going to do it on my pickup. We're going to talk about why you need to do an oil change, what tools you need to do, what supplies you need to do, how to get those supplies, and how to properly do an oil change safely and efficiently. Alright, without further ado, let's get going. Okay, we're going to get into why you need to change oil. And to do that, you kind of need to understand what oil does for your engine. It provides 5 major functions here. It cleans it, lubricates it, provides rust prevention, helps cool the engine, and also seals the engine for proper operation. Now, when the oil stops working or starts breaking down, all those 5 items aren't going to work very well. Additionally, when it provides lubrication, it provides what's called a hydrodynamic lift, or what it does is it provides a little small layer of oil between metal surfaces in this diagram shown. Now, one way the oil is cleaned is an oil filter. Now, there's a diagram here that shows you the oil is going to pass through this filter, and any particles that are in the oil are going to get trapped in the medium or the paper element that's in there. Oil will continue through and the particles will get trapped. Now, if you let your oil go too long, the filter is not going to be able to collect any more dirt. All right, so you're asking yourself, how do I know when to change my oil? Well, most modern cars today will monitor that oil life for you and will tell you how much life is left in it. If you don't have a car that does that, what you want to do is find out when the last time the oil was changed, refer to your owner's manual and see when they recommend the oil be changed. Often it's going to be anywhere between 3,000 to 5,000 miles, depending on the oil you put in, the filter type you put in. But keep in mind, oil and oil filters are cheap compared to an engine. Don't get cheap, change it as often as you should. Okay, that oil life reminder just popped up on your dash. Here's a little graph to kind of give you an idea when you start thinking about things. But right around 15%, I would start ordering some supplies. We're going to go over that next. All right, to make your oil change successful for the first time, you want to plan ahead and try to grab your oil filter, and any other supplies you might need before you go ahead and do that on the weekend or whenever you're going to do that. Trying to run out and grab those materials right before you do it, it's going to run into wasting a little bit of time running around town looking for supplies and make it a little bit stressful. This time you can work ahead. When you get that 15% service life pop up, go ahead and start gathering materials, and then when it gets down to like 5% or whenever you have time to do it, before 0, go ahead and change that oil. All right, we're going to check out places that we can get oil. Amsoil is a well-known oil. It's been around for years. They're specialized in synthetic oils. Well, the best part about the amsoil is they're one-stop shopping. So, hey, I want to figure out the oil for a BMW car that I have or a Ford car. I look up vehicle type, and then I go over there and I can figure out the product I want. So if I got a motorcycle, four-wheeler, or whatever. But we're just going to go over a car today. Say I want to look for my 2000 BMW. And then we're going to look for the model number here, and this would be for your car as well. And you select the engine. The cool part about this is they're just going to tell you the type of oils that they recommend, and they also tell you the viscosities as well as the capacity and how much, as well as the torque specs. Moving on down, if you're doing an oil filter change, which you should do every time you do an oil change, you can also buy an oil filter from them as well. Air filter for the car, coolant, all that sort of stuff, manual transmission, automatic transmission, etc. Now we're only going to talk about engine oil today, so we're going to look at, again, you can buy engine oil, synthetic engine oil, the viscosities, as well as your oil filter from them. Now again, this is just a recommendation for me. How much oil do I need and what type? Now, if you've been following along with all my other videos, you know that you can find this information in your owner's manual as well as your repair manual. If you don't know what I'm talking about, head over to that video and they'll kind of guide you through this. Being an oil change is a building block, so you want to make sure you're following each building block along the way. Now, amsoil is just one place you can get it online. Other places you can go online and order it. You want to order it online and pick it up. You can go in person and pick all your oil up at different stores as well. So this is just O'Reilly's. You can get your oil there. You can get your oil at Napa. One thing I would recommend, and I personally do, is I've always used Wix air filters as well as oil filters. Now, oil and air filters, as well as any type of filters in the car, you're going to find out it's just like everything. Everybody's got an opinion about those items, and they're going to say what's best and what's not best. I can only tell you what I personally use based on a lot of stuff I've used in the past and what I've been really happy with. You can do your own research, do your internet research, and figure it out. You can bounce it off of many reports and many websites, all that sort of stuff, and see who recommends what. I personally like wixfilters, period. So you can look them up if you want to know. We're going to go look at that same car. We're going to look up a filter. You select a type, passenger car, and then we're going to grab the year. And here's a nice part about it. This stuff is really easy. You can do all this online, so you can kind of write these things down before you go to the store if you want, or at least you have an idea. You're learning yourself, and you're not solely relying on the person at the store to help you out. So you look at oil filters here. I'm looking at the BMW 528i. Oil filter is 51223, and then the XP is really what their extra protection filter. Again, that falls under oil filters, air filters, all sorts of advice about that. I personally like to just use a regular oil filter and change my oil right around 4,000 miles. Synthetics, you can go 5 to 6. I like to change around 4. You know, standard oils that aren't synthetic, you should be changing around 3. So I'm probably changing early for 4,000 miles on a synthetic. Now if I'm walking across, I want to look for the fuel filter, air filter, cabin filter, and then these are for the transmission. So these are all the different things, you know. The cool part is you can click on them. I don't remember if you can buy them in person on here or not, but it'll tell you what you're kind of looking for. So when you get it from your handy dandy auto parts store, or if it's sent to you, you know what it's looking for. Now up here at top it says where to buy. Type in your zip code. Tells you where to go, and you can gives you a whole list of auto parts places you can buy this stuff from. I always recommend that you call ahead and make sure they have the filter available for you, because sometimes if you have a special car, they won't necessarily have the filter available. That covers oil filters, oils, and where you can buy them. The key is knowing what type you need. And again, I'll refer you to your owner's manual or your repair manual for that. Okay, what do you need to do in an oil change? I got it all laid out here. So really what you need is some way of getting that oil filter off the car. Or you got various ways to get the filter off the vehicle. Now, they have these slip over type. They slip over like so. And then you have a ratchet that goes over the end and then takes it off like so. Or you can use a filter wrench and go that way. And a lot of that will depend on if you have access. If you don't have any of that, you can just use a rubber strap method and then wrench it off like this. I prefer these slip over type. They slip right over. You can use a ratchet on the end and you have better access that way, so you can go that way. So you can buy all these different wrenches, these oil filter wrenches separately, or you can buy them as a set. You need a boxed end or open end wrench to get that oil plug out. And then I got a metric and a standard there, just in case I'm not sure which one's which. It should be metric. Unfortunately, that's the way it is with a US car. You get your oil. I use Mobil 1 in all my vehicles. We're not going to talk about oil today. That's probably a rabbit hole that we just don't want to go down today. Also, I got my safety gloves to keep some oil off my hands. Helps keep yourself clean. You can just wipe your hands clean with a rag. We're going to need to add into here is we just need a little rag to help us keep clean. Oh, I also forgot we need a funnel. Additionally, we need an oil dry in case we spill anything on the ground. And we need something to put the oil in, which is going to be this oil container here. We'll jack up the car, get it up in the air. If you don't know how to do that, go back to my jack and jack stands episode and I'll show you how to do that. All right, one of the first things you gotta do before you drain the oil out of the vehicle is, what you wanna do is remove the oil fill cap. And what that does is allow it to not create a vacuum in there when you're trying to drain the oil out of the engine. But theoretically, engines are supposed to be leak proof. We'll also pull out the dipstick, so that will allow air in there as well. We'll have air going in here, we'll have air going in here. That'll allow the oil to drain out the bottom without creating a vacuum inside the engine. That'll guarantee that you get the most oil out of the engine. Okay, what we got here is the oil pan bolt right there, and we also have the oil filter right there. You're not 100% certain where your drain pan plug is or your oil filter is. It's a good time to get a reference manual to start working on your vehicle. All right, I guessed right, 15 millimeter. All right, for you viewers that have a jacks and jack stands, this is why I'm doing this. I have my friend handy dandy lift here, but what I'm going to do is show you how hard it is or how easy it is to do a oil change on jack stands. So I brought it up to jack stand height. So here's the oil filter wrench. Put this on the oil filter and just slowly pull it off. Oil filters should not be on there so tight that you have to beat them off. They should be on there hand tight. And luckily this one was down there right. All right, so we'll drain this, take this oil filter off. You want your oil pan underneath there. And this is why you want that quick dry stuff, because you're not always going to guarantee that you're going to get this pan in the right spot. Also see the oil draining off my hands. This is why you like to wear gloves if you can. All right, I'm slowly taking this out by hand. We'll put it up there by hand as well. All right, now the most important thing is when you take an oil filter out is you want to make sure that oil seal is still in there. Sometimes it'll stick to the engine, and if you don't catch it, it'll make a huge mess. And I can't tell you how I know how. See this now? This is why you got oil all over my hands. Now this is why you want a rag. All right. So you see up there is where the oil filter housing goes. I'm trying not to get the GoPro inside the oil filter oil, but that's how it is. You want to make sure that there's no seal left up there. You can also wipe it off with a rag and make sure it's nice and clean. All right, you can just clean it off up there, nice and clean. Now what we'll do is we'll put an oil filter back up in there, and then we can start draining the oil out. But what we'll do is we'll let this thing drip out of there while we're draining the oil as well. Now comes the hard part, making sure that the oil pan is in the right spot for the oil drain, and also catch the oil filter drippings as well. This is where a mess could happen if you don't get it right. Just kind of think of it, there's gonna be positive pressure behind this. It's gonna have that fluid shoot out. It's not just gonna drip down, it's gonna shoot out a little bit, and then as it slows down, you're gonna have to move the filter, move the pan underneath it. Little tips from experience. Here we go. Totally missed it. Made a mess. All right, now, as this starts to drain a little bit more, see that flow is starting to slow down. Start to become more of a drip, more of a less flow. So what we're gonna do is move this pan closer to the flow. See, move it a little closer there. Now, as you see, flow has stopped quite substantially, so it's kind of more of a dribble. So what we're going to do is just let that flow out of there and just dribble out of there and drain out. You want to get all of it you can. The oil is going to flow back to the back of the oil pan anyways, because I got the truck tilted backwards. So that'll do that. What we'll do is just let it sit there and drain out. Okay, next on the list here is we have to check the oil plug to see if there's any metal shavings or anything like that. If there's big chunks of metal in there at the bottom, that's a good sign that you might have an oil or an engine issue. We don't have any of those. This also has a rubber washer on here, on this oil plug here, to prevent it from leaking. Sometimes you have what's called a crush washer, and we'll allow this oil, this rubber washer to make the seal here, but sometimes they have crush washers up there to allow that to prevent it from leaking as well. All right, now that's pretty much of a drip. I'm just gonna put this oil plug back in. And then we'll grab our wrench here and tighten it up. Now we'll also go from the manual and see how many Newton pounds or foot pounds we need to tighten that up for. Alrighty, what we're gonna do here is torque this down to the proper foot poundage for the vehicle. I was able to find it is 18 foot-pounds for this truck. So you want to make sure you torque it down correctly, otherwise you'll have a leak. You're wondering what that drip is in the driveway for.
All right, one thing you don't want to forget to do is wipe down that oil plug after it's all done. That way you know if there's any drips after the fact, you have an issue. Okay, now it's time to add the oil filter. What I'm doing here is I'm taking a little bit of old oil, from the pan and rubbing it all over the gasket. You want that gasket to be lubricated before you put that oil filter up there. What I'm going to do is hand spin this oil filter up there. That way you have a nice connection and you don't have any cross threading, and it's fits connect easily. See, it spins up there very easily. Now I'm grabbing the filter adapter wrench and going to put that on there, and I'm just going to snug it up. You know, there's a torque, it's right around 22 foot-pounds at 30 Newton meters. I prefer to just snug it. I've never had any oil filters leaking unless I forgot to take that gasket out of there, and then that creates a huge issue. So I'm just going to just snug it up there. That's my own personal thing, but as your mentor, I'm telling you that there is a torque fitting for that, so you can do that as well. All right, now time to add some oil. Oop, fancy hole poke opener. Drop some new oil in there. Nice clean oil. You can see those new people that it's nice and brown and clear and clean, almost sort of translucent. If it's dark and brown, it's dirty and needs to be changed. All right, just slowly pour the oil in there. Let it start running down your funnel. A good sized funnel is where you want to have to put this oil in. You can put about 1 quart to 2 quarts in a funnel, so you want to let it drain down. Take your time, don't rush it. Once you get towards the end, just kind of go ahead and set your container right there into the funnel and let it drain out. Okay, those of you working in your garage or in your driveway and using jacks and jack stands, I raise the truck up to equivalent height for it to be sitting on jack stands. Now I use a lift to provide extra support, equivalent to a jack stand for my safety. So that's what I did with that. I didn't cheat and use a lift and raise the truck up off the ground. I just wanted to show you how hard or how easy it would be to change the oil off of jack stands. All right, here's a nasty mess that I created by not getting the pan in the right spot. Unfortunately, sometimes it's just inevitable when you change your oil. All right, you're allowed the oil to drain down out of the jug. Time to take the funnel out. Make sure that funnel goes straight in the jug, that you don't have any oil dripping anywhere. All right, now what we're gonna do is wipe this dipstick clean. Put it back in, and what we're gonna do is check the oil level of the oil. So you were supposed to put X amount of oil in your engine, and with the filter, put the cap back on, make sure you wipe it down really clean. All right, we're gonna start the engine here, and that's allowed the oil to go into the filter. Now we'll check the oil, see if we have the proper level. Now right there, it's gonna be looks like about 1/2 quart low. Grab some more oil. It actually ended up being 7/10. I went back and looked at it. It was 7/10 of oil low. So 5.7 quarts. So I put 0.7 quarts in is what I did here. Let that drain. Now, while that's doing that, we'll check the oil level. Oil level is now full, perfect amount, good to go. Done draining, grab the funnel out, make sure oil drips in the car, put the cap back on. All right, we got the oil in there now. Now it's time to reset that oil life. I told you when the oil needed to be changed. It's 3% right now. Go ahead and step on the gas pedal 3 times. That resets the oil life. It says oil's been changed. Life oil reset. Shows oil life at 100%. All done. Okay, now time to clean up the mess. I got the oil filter there in the pan. Gonna do that. We're gonna gather our tools up, clean up the job, put the tools away in the nice toolbox you have or whatever you have. Job's not done until the tools are put away and cleaned up. Now, the mess I created, we're gonna put that oil dry in there, pick that up, this is where your gloves are handy. All right, now, to To be good advocates to the environment, we need to recycle this oil as well as the oil filter. So just grab that plastic bag from your grocery store. What we're gonna do is take that oil filter and put it in there, and then we'll recycle it later. Regarding recycling, you just paid money to buy oil and oil filter at a local parts store. So use them to recycle your oil. They won't charge you, so take it there for free. All right, when you go to recycle your oil, when you put it in your car, make sure you put it in a large trash bag in the back of the trunk or the back of the pickup or the back of your SUV, and take your oil filter with you. And make sure you have some gloves or rubber gloves with you, so when you take that out of the vehicle and take it inside, you're covered. Alrighty, happy recycling.
Alrighty, we just wrapped up that oil change. I hope you enjoyed something, you learned a lot about it. Now let me talk to you a little bit about oil change. You guys are probably thinking, why am I gonna do this myself? It's cheaper to take it to like a Jiffy Lube or some other quick oil change place. And I'm gonna tell you, it is cheaper. But the reason why you wanna do it yourself is A, you're learning and you wanna learn how to work on your own vehicle. There's satisfaction in doing that and taking care of your own vehicle. Secondary, the most important thing is that you know it's done right. There's a lot of horror stories out there on the internet about the Jiffy Lube guy or whatever quick change oil guy. They crank down on that oil plug so tight that they strip the oil plug, or they forgot to put the oil plug in and they put the oil in and they drive away. You drive away with your car and next thing you know, the car's out of oil. There's all sorts of horror stories. This way, if you do the work yourself, you know it's done correctly and efficiently, and you have an idea what's going on with the car. You are almost becoming one with your car, you know what's going on. That is a priceless thing. When you're under there changing the oil, putting that filter on, draining the oil, you are looking around and seeing other things while you're down there. There's a lot of things like what's going on here. That's the importance of doing your own oil change to me, and I want to put that onto you and let you guys know that. Additionally, it's a simple job and it's easy to do. Now, is it quicker? No, it's not. Is it cheaper? It's probably about the same price if you buy your oil at Walmart or Costco or someplace that you watch the deals and buy those filters ahead of time. If you're watching the deals, it'll be about the same cost if you take it to a quick change place. Alrighty, that's a quick wrap up. Think about pricing, the efficiency, and why you want to do it. We're going to wrap it up for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments section below. Hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. Both of those items will tell YouTube that you're liking what's going on. It helps the algorithm so I get a little bit more up to the top and more people will see it so we can help grow this channel and become a little bit more popular. Please leave your comments below. If you've got any questions, I'd be more than happy to ask. Again, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and hit the notification button so you know what's coming out in the future. All right, thanks for watching. Keep wrenching, stay safe. Talk to you guys later.